Genoese sea captain continues telling story of his discovery of Utopian City to Grandmaster of the Knights Hospitallers.
Tell me, please, of the magistrates, their services and duties, of the education and mode of living, whether the government is a monarchy, a republic, or an aristocracy.
This race of men came there from India, flying from the sword of the Magi, a race of plunderers and tyrants who laid waste their country, and they determined to lead a philosophically life in fellowship with one another. Although the community of wives is not instituted among the other inhabitants of their province, among them it is in use after this manner. All things are common with them, and their dispensation is by the authority of the Aegistrates. Arts and honors and pleasures are common, and are held in such a manner that no one can appropriate anything to himself. They say that all private property is acquired and improved for the reason that each one of us by himself has his own home and wife and children. From this, self-love springs. For when we raise a son to riches and dignities and leave an heir to much wealth, we become either ready to grasp at the property of the state, if in any case fear should be removed from the power which belongs to riches and rank, or avaricious, crafty, and hypocritical, if anyone is of slender purse, little strength, and mean ancestry. But when we have taken away self-love, there remains only love for the state.
Under such circumstances, no one will be willing to labor, while he expects others to work, on the fruit of whose labors he can live, as Aristotle argues against Plato.
I do not know how to deal with that argument, but I declare to you that they burn with so great a love for their fatherland, as I could scarcely have believed possible, and indeed with much more than the histories tell us belong to the Romans, who fell willingly for their country, inasmuch as they have to a greater extent surrendered their private property. I think truly that the friars and monks and clergy of our country, if they were not weakened by love for their kindred and friends, or by the ambition to rise to higher dignities, would be less fond of property, and more imbued with a spirit of charity toward all, as it was in the time of the apostles, and is now in a great many cases.
St. Augustine may say that, but I say that among this race of men, friendship is worth nothing, since they have not the chance of conferring mutual benefits on one another.
Nay, indeed, for it is worth the trouble to see that no one can receive gifts from another. Whatever is necessary they have, they receive it from the community, and the magistrate takes care that no one receives more than he deserves. Yet nothing necessary is denied to anyone. Friendship is recognized among them in war, in infirmity, in the art contests, by which means they aid one another mutually by teaching. Sometimes they improve themselves mutually with praises, with conversation, with actions, and out of the things they need. All those of the same age call one another brothers. They call all over 22 years of age fathers. Those that are less than 22 are named sons. Moreover, the magistrates govern well, so that no one in the fraternity can do injury to another.
And how?
As many names of virtues as there are among us, so many magistrates there are among them. There is a magistrate who is named magnanimity, another fortitude, a third chastity, a fourth liberality, a fifth criminal and civil justice, a sixth comfort, a seventh truth, an eighth kindness, a 10th gratitude, an 11th cheerfulness, a 12th exercise, a 13th sobriety, etc. They are elected to duties of that kind, each one to that duty for excellence in which he is known from boyhood to be most suitable. Wherefore among them neither robbery nor clever murders, nor lewdness, incest, adultery, or other crimes of which we accuse one another can be found. They accuse themselves of ingratitude and malignity when anyone denies a lawful satisfaction to another, of indolence, of sadness, of anger, of scurrility, of slander, and of lying, which curseful thing they thoroughly hate. Accused persons undergoing punishment are deprived of the common table and other honors until the judge thinks that they agree with their correction.
Tell me the manner in which the magistrates are chosen.
You would not rightly understand this unless you first learned their manner of living. That you may know then, men and women wear the same kind of garment, suited for war. The women wear the toga below the knee, but the men above, and both sexes are instructed in all the arts together. When this has been done as a start, and before their third year, the boys learn the language and the alphabet on the walls by walking round them. They have 4 leaders and 4 elders, the first to direct them, the second to teach them, and these are men approved beyond all others. After some time, they exercise themselves with gymnastics, running, quoits, and other games, by means of which all their muscles are strengthened alike. Their feet are always bare, and so are their heads as far as the 7th ring. Afterward, they lead them to the offices of the trades, such as shoemaking, cooking, metalworking, carpentry, painting, etc. In order to find out the bent of the genius of each one, after their 7th year, when they have already gone through the mathematics on the walls, they take them to the readings of all the sciences. There are 4 lectures at each reading, and in the course of 4 hours, the 4 in their order explain everything. For some take physical exercise or busy themselves with public services or functions. Others apply themselves to reading. Leaving these studies, all are devoted to the more abstruse subjects, to mathematics, to medicine, and to other sciences. There are continual debate and studied argument among them, and after a time they become magistrates of those sciences or mechanical arts in which they are the most proficient. For everyone follows the opinion of his leader and judge, and goes out to the plains to the works of the field, and for the purpose of becoming acquainted with the pasturage of the dumb animals. And they consider him the more noble and renowned who has dedicated himself to the study of the most arts and knows how to practice them wisely. Wherefore they laugh at us in that we consider our workmen ignoble, and hold those to be noble who have mastered no pursuit, but live in ease and are so many slaves given over to their own pleasure and lasciviousness. And thus, as it were, from a school of vices, so many idle and wicked fellows go forth for the ruin of the state. The rest of the officials, however, are chosen by the 4 chiefs, Ho, Pan, Sin, and more, and by the teachers of that art over which they are fit to preside. And these teachers know well who is most suited for rule. Certain men are proposed by the magistrates in council, they themselves not seeking to become candidates, and he opposes who knows anything against those brought forward for election, or if not, speaks in favor of them. But no one attains to the dignity of Ho except him who knows the histories of the nations, and their customs and sacrifices and laws, and their form of government, whether a republic or a monarchy. He must also know the names of the lawgivers and the inventors in science, and the laws and the history of the earth and the heavenly bodies. They think it also necessary that he should understand all the mechanical arts, the physical sciences, astrology, and mathematics. Nearly every 2 days they teach our mechanical art. They are not allowed to overwork themselves, but frequent practice, and the paintings render learning easy to them. Not too much care is given to the cultivation of languages, as they have a goodly number of interpreters who are grammarians in the state. But beyond everything else, it is necessary that Ho should understand metaphysics and theology, that he should know thoroughly the derivations, foundations, and demonstrations of all the arts and sciences, the likeness and difference of things, necessity, fate, and the harmonies of the universe, power, wisdom, and the love of things and of God, the stages of life and its symbols, everything relating to the heavens, the earth, and the sea, and the ideas of God as much as mortal man can know of him. He must also be well read in the prophets and in astrology, and thus they know long beforehand who will be Ho. He is not chosen to so great a dignity unless he has attained his 35th year. And this office is perpetual, because it is not known who may be too wise for it, or who too skilled in ruling.
Who indeed can be so wise? If even anyone has a knowledge of the sciences, it seems that he must be unskilled in ruling.
This very question I asked them, and they replied thus: We, indeed, are more certain that such a very learned man has the knowledge of governing, than you who place ignorant persons in authority, and consider them suitable merely because they have sprung from rulers or have been chosen by a powerful faction. But our Ho, a man really the most capable to rule, is for all that never cruel nor wicked, nor a tyrant, inasmuch as he possesses so much wisdom. This, moreover, is not unknown to you, that the same argument cannot apply among you, when you consider that man the most learned who knows most of grammar, or logic, or of Aristotle or any other author. For such knowledge as this of yours, much servile labor and memory work are required, so that a man is rendered unskillful, since he has contemplated nothing but the words of books, and has given his mind with useless result to the consideration of the dead signs of things. Hence he knows not in what way God rules the universe, nor the ways and customs of nature and the nations. Wherefore he is not equal to our Ho, for that one cannot know so many arts and sciences thoroughly, who is not esteemed for skilled ingenuity, very apt at all things, and therefore at ruling especially. This also is plain to us, that he who knows only one science does not really know either that or the others, and he who is suited for only one science and has gathered his knowledge from books is unlearned and unskilled. But this is not the case with intellects prompt and expert in every branch of knowledge, and suitable for the consideration of natural objects, as it is necessary that our Ho should be. Besides, in our state the sciences are taught with a facility, as you have seen, by which more scholars are turned out by us in 1 year than by you in 10, or even 15. Make trial, I pray you, of these boys. In this matter I was struck with astonishment at their truthful discourse, and at the trial of their boys, who did not understand my language well. Indeed, it is necessary that 3 of them should be skilled in our tongue, 3 in Arabic, 3 in Polish, and 3 in each of the other languages, and no recreation is allowed them unless they become more learned. For that they go out to the plain for the sake of running about and hurling arrows and lances, and of firing harquebuses, and for the sake of hunting the wild animals and getting a knowledge of plants and stones, and agriculture and pasturage. Sometimes the band of boys does one thing, sometimes another. They do not consider it necessary that the 3 rulers assisting Ho should know other than the arts having reference to their rule, and so they have only a historical knowledge of the arts which are common to all. But their own they know well, to which certainly one is dedicated more than another. Thus power is the most learned in the equestrian art, in marshalling the army, in the marking out of camps, in the manufacture of every kind of weapon and of warlike machines, in planning stratagems, and in every affair of a military nature. And for these reasons, they consider it necessary that these chiefs should have been philosophers, historians, politicians, and physicists. Concerning the other 2 triumvirs, understand remarks similar to those I have made about power.